Hi everyone, I just finished reading and giving feedback to you on your speech to demonstration speech rough drafts of your outlines, and I noticed that several of you were intending to use sources, had reference to them within the body of your speech, but perhaps did not have them in the outline of your speech in the bibliography section. So I wanted to just briefly address that and give you some pointers on where to go to get some help with that and what a full MLA citation looks like. So when you use resources outside of your own experiences, you want to usually cite those. And I'm always of the opinion that it's better to oversight than to undercite, because oversighting you're not going to get docked for. Underciting you could be accused of plagiarism, and you don't want that. So if you had to look up information, if you have to find statistics or numbers, if you're providing information that a common person on the street would not know, you're probably doing research that requires you to verbally and then formally cite the work that you've done. So in the sample outline that I have put on Blackboard for you, the packing light one that I wrote, I only have one citation in this particular example, and I have a citation for a quote from Mr. Rick Steves, who is the author of the guidebooks to Europe and does a podcast and a television program on PBS. So because I am quoting Rick Steves, I have to be able to tell my audience that this is authentic information that I can verify, and I have done that by introducing my quote. So I have here, in the words of travel author and PBS personality, Rick Steves. Now, if you have a quote or piece of information that you're pretty sure your audience isn't going to be unfamiliar with, so I don't ever assume that people know who Rick Steves is because he is a public television personality, not necessarily a star. I always try to introduce that bit of information to my audience so that they know. And so I introduce his credentials, and he's authored over 30 books, and he's been doing this for 30 years. I have his direct words: you can't travel heavy, happy, and cheap, pick two. And then in my bibliography, I have given the reader and the teacher, in this case myself, a breadcrumb trail of how to find this information. So the author who said the quote is Rick Steves. I found it on this particular web page, on this website, and I accessed that website on the 8th of June a couple years ago. Here's the URL to that website. So that's part of what I have to do. I have to orally tell my audience, so I tell you this when I'm speaking my presentation, but I don't have to tell you all this. This is for the instructor to make sure that the sources are correct. You don't read this part to your audience members. So if you have not done citations for a while, or if you have never done them, or you just want a little bit of a refresher, I wanted to direct you first to a website called Purdue OWL. Purdue OWL is produced by the Purdue University in Indiana, and it is a really just great overall website for all things citing and sourcing, and it contains handbooks for both MLA and APA. Now, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, there are two primary formatting style books or style guides for references when you're writing academic essays. So there's MLA, which stands for Modern Language Association, and there's APA, which stands for American Psychological Association. If you are taking science or health-related courses, you are likely using APA. If you're taking humanities or communications-based courses, you are likely using MLA. So since we are in a humanities/communications course, I ask that you use MLA citing for this course. So I'm looking at the Purdue OWL website. OWL stands for Online Writing Lab, and I have defaulted it for my browser to MLA style. And this just gives a really nice overview of basic formatting for that bibliography section of your formal outlines. So let's say you have a resource that you found online that you want to use. I go here, go to MLA Works Cited Electronic Sources, which basically means anything digital, anything that you found through some electronic means. And it gives you a nice overview of the basic styles for citations. It also gives you how to cite an entire website, how to cite a page on a website, how to cite an image, an article in a journal, an article from a database. You can even cite emails, listservs, tweets, YouTube videos, etc. So it's got a pretty comprehensive list of how to cite things. You can also cite things like books. So if you go back over here to your left, you will say MLA cited page, works cited page for books. That will give you an overview of the different types of books you can cite, many different styles, so author, no author, multiple authors, anthologies, etc. So MLA, the citation guide within the OWL Purdue is a really solid, well-respected, well-used website to just bookmark and use for future reference. The other one that you might be familiar with and may have used before is this EasyBib. EasyBib is okay. It's kind of cluttered. It's got a lot of advertisements, sometimes depending on the number of advertisements and whether they're heavily animated, as you're seeing here. The page can take a long time to load, and the page is only as good as the information you give it. So it defaults to MLA 8, which is the most current version of Modern Language Association formatting. And if you are using the references tools in like a Microsoft Word and you're using an older version of Word, you're probably going to get a slightly outdated MLA citation. So if you bought your computer a few years ago and it's still got an older version, it might be giving you MLA 7. So these editing bodies or agencies like MLA or Modern Language Association put together these style books, and they have revisions that they make every couple years, and they do that partly to make money because they're a book publishing company, but partly to try to keep up with the changes that are made in the publication world. So, 10, 20, 30 years ago, we did not have electronic sources that we needed to cite as often, but now almost everything is accessed through the internet. So in that case, we need to provide ways in which people can cite things like YouTube videos or tweets, if that's applicable. MLA 8 is defaulted, so if I find an article that I like, so I'm just going to do a quick search and grab the first one I see. So it happens to be the meeting with Trump and Kim Jong-un. So I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to paste the website into here, and I'm going to cite it and see how much information the website provides me. So it's thinking, and it's going to think for a while, and depending on how many other people are using this particular website at the moment, it's going to maybe kick out something that I can use. This has been taking longer than normal when I've used it in the past couple days in my face-to-face classes. So be a little bit patient with it. I use EasyBib when I need to do it quickly and the stakes don't matter much. I don't use EasyBib if the stakes are higher. So I go and I default and I do the manual work myself through the OWL Purdue. So it's maybe a nice place to start, but I almost always check my work through the OWL Purdue to make sure I'm doing it correctly. I also have a MLA handbook behind me here that I reference. I know off the top of my head maybe 3 to 5 citations by heart. The rest of them I need to look up because I don't do them often enough. So when I clicked that, it didn't really pull any information. So I would have to go through and actually physically type in or manually type in all the information that it's highlighting in orange for me in order for that citation to be complete. So at this point, EasyBib is not doing me any better than doing the work myself through OWL Purdue. So that's what I mean when I'm talking about referencing your sources correctly. And in public speaking, you have to verbally tell your audience where you're getting your information if you did not have the experience or the knowledge yourself before and you don't think your audience will. And you also have to have that bibliography section complete. It is not enough for you to just copy and paste a link in that section. You need to actually give me all the information like publisher, publication date, sponsoring agency, if you know that, etc. And that's covered in this MLA OWL Purdue section. So hopefully that was a good overview for you. If you do have questions about that, please let me know. Also know that you have Online Writing Center through Western as an option to get some feedback on that, or the Learning Commons if you're on campus here in the La Crosse area. They have people, writing specialists there who can help you with those types of things. So again, happy writing, happy revising, and any questions, let me know.